don't know if you've noticed, but I love looking at trends that I see and dresses that I want, and I look through my patterns and I go, okay, what patterns do I have that I could hack into what I see in ready to wear or fashion that I want to wear on myself. So today I want to show you how to take the Seoul Blossom Blouse that I'm wearing right now, and we're going to hack it into one of those really super cool boho dresses. So you know, the one with the tiered ruffles. We're also going to learn how to expand the sleeves so that we have a fuller sleeve, and then how to bring it in to add an elastic cuff. We're going to keep the neck the same and the bodice the same. So it kind of shows you how, once you've done the hard work of getting this to fit you properly, then you have a base pattern that you can then do so many things with. Even if you don't want to do the tiered ruffles, literally all it is measuring how long you want it, cutting a rectangle and gathering and adding it to your top. So I want to show you how you can start looking at your patterns in a new way to create more garments for your handmade wardrobe. So let's go ahead and get stuck in. Go ahead and print out your measuring chart from the club and measure from your shoulder to where you'd like your bodice to end. So that can be a little bit above your waist, just below your chest. And my top is going to be 16 inches. Here I have the front of my Seoul Blossom blouse. I have the pattern piece, and I'm going to measure from the shoulder to where it is 16 inches. So you'll be using your measurement, and then I'll cut out my front bodice and just completely ignore the darts. We don't need those. Next, I'm going to figure out how long from the short and lengthened line I extended the back. So we're not going to measure from the shoulder. We're going to measure from the short and lengthened line, fold up the bottom of the back piece, and then place it on the fold, so then we can pin and cut that one out. Here I'm using some of my spray pattern adhesive. I absolutely love this stuff. Amazing. Look how well it sticks. And then I'm able to use my rotary cutter to easily cut out my piece. It does not wiggle. It does not move. It is literally the coolest thing ever. Now we need to determine how long we want our skirt to be. So I measured from my waist, or where I wanted my bodice to end, to just above my knees. So that plus enough room for a hem, so about an inch extra for a hem, is 25 inches. Now I want to separate the tiers so that there's two tiers. I want the top one to be bigger and the bottom one to be smaller. That's just a personal preference that I've decided. So the top one is going to be 13 inches, and that is accommodating the seam allowance, and the bottom one is going to be 12 inches, and that is also accommodating my hem. Next, we need to determine the width of the skirt with the gather. So I've measured the bottom of my bodice, which is 22 inches. We're going to add a third for our gathers, which is going to be about 7.5 inches. So total, our width needs to be 29.5, and we need to multiply that times 2 because we need two pieces, a front and a back. Was for our first tier. So now we're going to take that bottom measurement, which I just rounded up to 30 because it was easier math, and then we're going to again add another third, which is 10 inches, and the total of the second tier is going to be 40. So now I'm going to take that first tier measurement. I've already cut two pieces at that 13-inch measurement, and so then I measured and cut my first width, and then I'm doing the second on the second tier, which is 12 inches by the 40. You can see that's quite a bit longer. Then I used a pocket pattern piece that I had from the Fremantle frock to cut out 4 pockets. Now we're going to work on our sleeve pattern. So I've traced off my sleeve pattern from the Seoul Blossom blouse, and next I am going to mark about 1 inch apart all of these straight lines. So you can see I'm using my ruler going all the way up. Then I use my rotary cutter to cut on those lines, but you can see I'm not going all the way through the top. I'm leaving a hinge. Next, I've pinned it onto my fabric, and I've left the bottom to be 16 inches, which my wrist is 8 inches if I was going to make a normal sleeve, so I doubled that to give myself the 16 inches at the bottom. I also cut and made myself a few strips of bias. I like to cut my bias at 1 3/4 inch strips and then join them together and iron them in half, wrong sides together. Once everything is cut out, we're going to start working on making our dress. So the first thing I've done is I put the pockets right sides together with the first skirt tier, sewed those down, flipped them out, top stitched them, and now I'm placing my two pieces right sides together and then going to sew down and around the pockets. Now I'm attaching my pieces together to make my dress. So I did my bodice, I sewed the side seams and the shoulders. I also sewed the sleeve and then made myself a casing for my elastic to fit through. I have sewn the sides, overlocked top and bottom of both of the tiers, overlocked the bottom tier and the sides, and then also have sewn my hem. So now I'm going to gather up the tiers to attach them together and then also attach my sleeves and overlock them as well. This is my absolute favorite method for gathering. I use dental floss, zigzag over the top of it, and then gather it up to the size that I need. So you can see I've done 2 strings, one for the front, one for the back. Gather, push, pull, and then once it's sewn to the garment, I can take out the dental floss. I'd like to refer you to your pattern for the directions on how to do a V-neck, but I thought you might also like to see me do it. So I've sewn my bias all the way around. I started exactly at the tip of the V, and now I'm stopping exactly where that V is going to end. So I've gone in my seam allowance, and you can see how they're perfectly matched on both sides. That's so important. Next, you're going to take your bias pieces and place them together like you can see here. And then you're going to use a chalk pen to mark on your 45-degree angle. I suggest using your multi-tool. We're going to go from the point where we stopped exactly up 45 degrees. We're going to sew from the edge and then stop directly at our point. And that's the part that's probably the most important. Trim off your excess, trim the bottom, trim the corner. We just want to make this so smooth so we have no bulk, and you can see how nice that point is. So when I flip it over, I'm just going to release that corner there, kind of reduce the bulk, and then when I flip it over to the other side, that point is going to sit so nice and flat. Once you're done, put on your edge stitching foot, top stitch the bias down, and you can even insert your little garment label down at the back just like I've done. It really finishes off this garment perfectly. Okay, and here is my dress all done. I love how comfortable it feels. It's just the perfect little V-neck dress, and what a transformation from the Seoul Blossom Blouse to having a dress that looks like this. They don't look like the same pattern at all, but you guys saw it's from the exact same pattern, just with a few little tweaks. I love the sleeves. I think this could be added to literally any sort of garment. You don't have to do the elastic. You could just leave it as a wider sleeve, but I love how those turned out because it's so comfy. And the 2 tiers, like I've mentioned before, you could just have the 1 tier and make it super simple. A little bit wide at the waist, so sometimes if I want to bring it in, I definitely will be adding a belt, which then gives it a whole new sort of fit and flare sort of look. So anyways, no matter what you decide to do, I hope you really enjoyed learning how to take a pattern you already own, change it up a little bit, and make something completely new and completely you. You see what I did there? A little bit of rhyming. Anyways, that's it for me today, and I hope you enjoyed this month's sew along.